Aren't they, because of the draw at the weekend, and it really, you know, we should have put that game to bed as well. But I thought we did look a little bit laboured. We didn't come out sparking. We didn't look as though we were firing on all cylinders. But we'll certainly need to do that tomorrow evening.
Certainly will. We can see the pictures from over in Spain. The press, as I said, waiting for Jose to appear. We are expecting him imminently, and no doubt he will be. Which players are available to him, because we saw Luke Shaw and Bailly go off at the weekend, although Bailly has been back in training, and the likes of Jones, Smalling to Pogba as well. So hopefully we'll have more bodies to choose from at least. Well,
I think that Jones and Smalling have trained, so that's a good sign, you know, because if Eric Bailly is still struggling, you need bodies at the back. I mean, it shows you how many injuries we do have and how many people out. You know, no disrespect, but Scott Tominay was on the bench at weekend. Great for him, but it does show that there's a hell of a lot of injuries out there. So we've got to look after people, and there won't be. I don't think there's been a lot of training going on. It'll have been, you know, the proverbial wrap 'em in cotton wool sort of syndrome.
Yeah. Now, usually the press conferences take place in the main stadium, but there's a lot of work being done there. In Vigo at their stadium, so we're actually in a marquee. A bit different stitch. It won't make any difference to the content coming over from Spain in the press conference. But to be fair, that stadium looks really, really impressive.
It looks a really good stadium, doesn't it? Very modern looking, and I'm sure, no doubt, with Manchester United in town, it'll be absolutely rocking tomorrow night, and that's something that you've got to put up with. You know, we've played a very, very difficult stadium before. You know, we've been over to Turkey. We've been to the most sort of hostile stadiums ever. So you've got to manage that as well, because that all takes its part, all takes its place in how the players feel. You know, some of the younger players haven't, you know, had that before. So we've got to fight that as well as the 11 on the pitch.
We're used to that, aren't we? These players certainly are used to it. They trained in Manchester this morning and then headed off to Spain. See Carrick and Lingard there. Phil Jones returning to that squad. Daley Blinder's done a brilliant job at centre half since being forced there. Paul Pogba back to Smalling as well. It's so good to see these players come back at a crucial part of the season, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Bailly included as well, we can remain injury-free for the run-in, because it has seemed to be a bit of a jinx in recent days.
It has. I mean, I'm just looking at Eric Bailly there. He didn't look to be limping at all, did he? He looked to be walking pretty easy, and as you said, there was Phil Jones and Chris Smalling. Well, you can see Chris just in the background behind Sergio Romero there. And we need everybody to be fit. We need everybody, because we still do have a chance in the league as well. You know, I know it's not exactly in our hands now.
Yeah.
It might have been a little bit more in our own hands had we won at the weekend, but the Liverpool-Watford result wasn't the best of results for us. So yes, we've got to make sure that we do well in this competition. Well, we've got to make sure that we win it. I mean, if we win this and we still get in the top four, then we've covered all bases, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. See young Axel Tuanzebe there, part of the travelling squad. And even for people like Axel, who perhaps won't get on the pitch, just to be part of this European club football semi-final, to be in and around the likes of Smalling and Jones and Bailly and Blind, experienced pros, is fantastic for them.
Yeah, and just before the VT went off there, then there's also Juan Mata, who's back in. He was on the bench at the weekend. Great to see him back ahead of schedule. The only other problem we encountered the other week was Tim Fosu-Mensah as well.
Jose, Juan Mata was back on the bench at the weekend. How much of a gamble would it be to potentially start, given he's been out for, I think, 6 weeks? And also, what kind of an achievement would it be to take this team, given all the problems you've faced in terms of fixture overload and also the... Jose, Juan Mata was back on the bench at the weekend. How much of a gamble would it be to potentially start with him tomorrow, given he's been out for, I think, 6 weeks? And also, what kind of an achievement would it be to take this team to the final of the Europa League, given all the problems you've faced in terms of fixture overload and also the injuries as well this season?
Dos preguntas en una. ¿Cómo de peligroso sería alinear a Mata mañana sabiendo que ha estado en el banquillo? Y segunda pregunta, ¿cómo de importante sería ganar la Europa League con la temporada que habéis tenido con todas las lesiones? ¿Cuán importante sería eso para vosotros?
Mata was injured for a while, but he's ready to play. He's experienced. He's one of the few players that played European semi-finals and finals, so it's nothing new for him. The only risk is that probably he cannot play 90 minutes, but that's the risk of if he starts, doesn't finish the game. If he comes from the bench, no problem for him to play. So he's selected and he can perfectly play tomorrow. The achievement, I don't think too much about the achievement. I know that it's the only competition that Manchester United as a club never won it, and it would be great to close the circle and say we are a club that won every single competition in the football world. Thinking about us as a team, I think would be a good achievement with so many problems we had, and would allow us to be back to Champions League next season. So we have to try. That's Europa League become for us now more important, and of course depends on the result, depends on the way we analyze the situation tomorrow after the match. But if we have rest players next weekend, we are going to do that.